All this is tied to control. And when we delegate tasks, we're handing off the control to someone else. Is this anxiety provoking? Yep. Does it create unease? You bet. And is it absolutely necessary in the long run? 100%.
Parenthood is challenging enough as it is, and getting organized sounds easier said than done. Now, combine these two together, and it's truly a balancing act that many of us struggle with day in, day out. If you're here, it's because you want to know how to get your life and home more organized and structured where the kids are involved too, so that parent life is a little easier and you can focus on what truly matters. Hey there, I'm Diane Jimenez, owner and founder of One Tidy Place. I created this podcast because I know parents have their hands full. I know this because I have 3 kids of my own. Each week, we'll talk about all things organizing, teaching kids life skills, and contributing to the home, being on the same page with your partner, and raising your kids together while you tidy up, go out for a walk, or just need some real talk. I'm here for you. Thank you for tuning in. Are you ready? Let's do this.
In this episode, we'll talk about the art of delegation. In other words, getting your family to help out at home. We'll get into why we should delegate, the biggest myth when it comes to delegating, and strategies to help you get started or work through any resistance you may be or have been experiencing. And stick around to the end as I have a free resource for you, which is about discovering your organizing personality and getting tips and strategies that support you. This episode is action-packed, but before we begin, welcome to another episode of the Organized-ish Parent Podcast. I'm your host, Diane Jimenez, a decluttering and family organization coach. I help busy moms reclaim their time by creating simple, sustainable systems and empowering their kids to help out so you don't have to do it all alone. Okay, let's dive in. So why should we delegate? Well, the short answer is, and there are many reasons, but I believe the most important one is to help reduce our mental load. Now, whether or not that person or people we delegated the task to actually do it like we had asked, that can also be a source of increased mental load, which is why most parents will not delegate. I get it. But I'm here to help you not see through that lens, but through another one. It's called the bigger picture. So, in the long run, delegating tasks will reduce your mental load because it's less on you to handle everything from thought to getting things done, like birthday parties, what to have for dinner every single day of the week, how to keep kids busy not only during the summertime, but whenever they have a break from the regular routine. Figuring out carpool schedules to equipment checking and replenishing school supplies. And these are just to name a few. All of this while answering all the questions and demands coming in from your family from all ends. Can you feel your mental load or your mental space being less and less right now? Yeah. Then there's the house stuff. Let me ask you this, and please answer honestly to yourself. Are all the tasks at home shared between you and your spouse? Are you each other's teammate, or does everything seem a little one-sided? Back in 2020, I attended a professional organizers online summit, and one of the speakers just blew me away with her talk on ownership and household responsibilities, especially when it comes to moving, because that's what the summit was all about. Anyhow, because I was eating up every single thing that she was saying, I clearly remember texting my colleagues, this girl is speaking my language when it came to shared responsibilities. So, like any normal person would do these days, I searched her up. The speaker was Eve Rodsky, and she's the author of the New York Times bestseller, Fair Play. By the way, I'll link everything I'm referencing in today's show notes. So keep doing whatever it is that you're doing, okay? Then come back to this episode when you can. It'll all be at dianejimenez.com/65. Okay, so just to talk about the book, and I'm not an affiliate, by the way, but it's all about dividing household tasks between the parents. In her book, she gives you the crazy backstory of how it all started and ended up with creating a game for parents to communicate a lot better and share the responsibilities at home. Inside her book, you'll find a lot of eye opening stats, quizzes you can do for yourself and as a couple, and some self reflection stuff too. But the big thing is, and this is great, is that she also gives you specific words to say to your spouse depending on their personality type that you do in secret from the quiz. But it's basically how to introduce this new game to them. How cool is that? Anyway, I don't want to give too much away, but if this sounds interesting to you, and or you felt that for a long time now that the household responsibilities have been a little off, check out Eve Rodsky's book, Fair Play. And by the way, you might not have to purchase it just yet. When I was at a client's decluttering her place, I saw the book on the table. And when I asked about it, she mentioned that she had borrowed it from the library. So check it out there too. Now, speaking of parents and communicating, if you haven't yet, episode 63 is all about that. And more specifically, it's about Onig and I talking about how we get on the same page. So if you want a little behind the scenes chez moi, head to dianejimenez.com/63. I believe that in any relationship, when both parties are aware, present, and pretty much on the same page for a lot of things, and you guys get along, it's a blueprint for your kids on how to build solid relationships. All right, so we covered the mental load aspect of delegating, but what about time? You can't deny that outsourcing a project so you can focus on important matters is a win, right? Well, the big myth is the opposite of that. Ever tell yourself, it's so much faster if I just do it myself? Although it's true, we are faster at doing certain things than our kids or even our spouse. And sometimes our spouse can do things a lot more efficiently than we can, and definitely more than the kids, right? Easier equals faster. Now, if the goal was who could clean the house faster, then for sure, doing it all yourself would make sense. But through the bigger picture lens, all we're doing is feeding our ego and taking away opportunity for growth from our kids. How does that make you feel? What would it look like in your kids' perspective? See, if it were always the same person cleaning and tidying up because they're so much faster and better at it than everyone else in a house where there are able bodies who could help, yet no one is picking up after themselves, I can bet there would be some sort of built up resentment over the years. And I don't mean from the person doing all the things, but from others not having a chance to do anything because everything is always done for them. Do you see where the missed opportunity for growth is here? Now, I'm not saying that someone can't pipe up and say something. They sure can. Teens and probably older kids can, but not so much for smaller kids. And speaking of teens, will they? What are the odds that would say something because it's always been done that way and they're now comfortable not doing anything? So when we look through the eyes of the person taking action all the time, which is most probably you, how does all of this make you feel? What would your mood be like after handling everything all the time, every day? Would you be also ready to take on other things you really wanted to pursue, like your passions, your projects? Chances are you're tired physically, emotionally, mentally. That doesn't sound like fun at all or living with your purpose because although having a clean and tidy space is key for reducing overwhelm and stress, maintaining the house isn't your sole responsibility or purpose, right? By the way, I help guide you through all of this in my new coaching program for busy moms using my Reclaim Your Time framework. Simplify your home, organize your life, free your time. It's all about reclaiming your time, your space, and yourself. So, if finding more time is what you want, head to my newly updated website, dianejimenez.com. All the details are there. Yes, I'm shamelessly self promoting here. I had to be putting something light and lighten things up. All right, let's move on. Remember the big picture lens we need to look through? Now, before I get to guiding you on how to delegate, it's important to remember that whenever there's change in a system, like at home, at work, at school, or between friends, there will most probably be some sort of resistance or barrier, if you will. These changes can cause people unease, aka anxiety. Now, I'm not just talking about anxiety for the recipients of the new tasks, but you may not feel comfortable letting go of the reins and of the way things should be done. But remember what I mentioned earlier about looking at delegating through the big picture lens? So, what barriers am I talking about specifically? The common ones are emotional barriers like guilt, perfectionism, and the fear of losing control. Now, if it seems like they're all connected, they kind of are. So, let's dig in a little deeper here. Guilt often gets us to do everything ourselves. Perfectionism also makes us do things that only we can do the task, or that whatever that needs to get done is done perfectly and when it should be done. For an example, all this is tied to control. And when we delegate tasks, we're handing off the control to someone else. Is this anxiety provoking? Yep. Does it create unease? You bet. And is it absolutely necessary in the long run? 100%. It's it's funny. They say in jujitsu, you got to get comfortable with the discomfort to move forward. So, like when someone is sitting on your chest because you're flat on your back, it's probably hard to breathe, right? And being in that position sucks. I know this far too well. Anyhow, no matter how uncomfortable it is, it's not impossible to get out of that unpleasant situation. Oftentimes, it's a little tweak in your body position or reframing yourself so that you'll get from feeling like you're dying to feeling like you're less dying. So it's a good thing. Now, when it comes to assigning a task to your kids, you may feel uneasy, but it's not like someone sitting on your chest, right? And like jujitsu, we're constantly reframing our body for better positioning. With delegating, by reframing your mind, it will help you get through these unwanted feelings. If it's about guilt, though, ask yourself, what are you feeling bad about? Putting too much on the kids? Not letting them be kids? What is it? It's important to reframe your mind to see that they may need to learn how to do things in order to survive in this world. Now, if it's about things getting done a certain way or having the mentality that no one can do things the way you do, like loading the dishwasher more efficiently than, say, your spouse or your kids, this may be true, but does it make it right? Is perfect the ultimate goal here? Remember, bigger picture. It's about giving them the opportunity for growth. Now, if you're still not convinced, I've said this many times in past episodes, and I'll keep saying it until the cows come home. Everything doesn't always have to fall on you to do. And besides, who says the kids can't learn how to do things like the way you do down the road? In the online world, they always say, don't compare your first time posting content to someone who's been doing it for years and years and years, making it look seamless and easy and flawless. Trust me, it takes tons of practice, patience, time, and mistakes to put something decent out there. So let's allow the same space for ourselves and our kids too. I say ourselves because it's hard to let go of the reins and let someone else try and figure things out and make mistakes and stop ourselves from taking over. Remember, it's about their growth, not filling our needs. As challenging as it is to watch them try again and again, and we're just there to assist, give pointers, and give feedback, maybe even show them how the task is done again. But all in all, we're essentially letting them figure things out. Do you know what that's called? Parenting. All right, so let's move on. How to delegate. Here are some practical strategies for you. Number one, make sure when you delegate that it's age appropriate tasks for the kids. For instance, if your kid knows how to read and they understand what they're reading, they can also learn how to start and load the dishwasher or the washing machine. For the younger ones, to start them on laundry would be to help you with sorting or folding simple items like small towels or matching the socks together. They could also be helping you load the machines or emptying them. Number two, a second delegating strategy would be to use tools to make delegation easier. For years, we've had chore charts. I've written lists of what to do. I've drawn on paper for them when they were younger. Use tools that work for you and your family and that you guys can stick to. I know it's annoying to hear, but consistency is key. And I'm not talking about the kids. They need to be consistent for sure, but it all starts with you. You are the key. Following up with them, prompting them, having follow up conversations. Yeah, all of that. Chore charts work when you're also consistent with being on top of them. There are plenty of apps out there, but let's remember keep things simple. The last thing you want is for your kids to get distracted because now they have a tablet or a device in their hands to check off their tasks. Listen, toddlers can figure out how to find their favorite apps on any device, so be mindful of the tools that you use. Technology isn't always the go to solution here. And that's why I love visual reminders. And we place them in a common area where I know the kids will see them. And in our house, it's on the patio door, sliding door in the dining room where we eat. It's a huge piece of paper, an 11-inch by 17-inch piece of paper where the kids manually log in their points every single day or whenever they do their tasks or their activities. Now, you might be wondering, isn't that an eyesore? And the short answer is yes, but it's really not. Big picture, remember? The end goal is for them to help around the house. They also need to be reminded to do their tasks, and I don't want to keep telling them what to do. So, placement of our chart is paramount here in reaching our goal. Plus, this phase in their life, it's super short. Someone gave me this great quote, and I don't know where they got it from, but they said, with kids, the days are long, but the years are short. So let's not sweat the small stuff, okay? Now, speaking of chore charts, if this is something that you want to know more about or get started on with your family, make sure you're on my email list because I will be hosting a workshop down the road on how to create and implement a chore/activity chart for families with multiple kids, similar to the ones that we've been using at our house for the past 2 years. Now, we've been pretty successful with it and seeing big changes in our kids' attitudes towards doing chores, practicing their activities like piano, and also not being so glued and having a close grip on their devices and then having us to pry their hands off of them. It's nothing like that. But you know what I mean? They're not so stuck on their devices and it's not difficult for us to get them out of it, is what I'm trying to say. So now, because of the changes in our kids and having reclaimed my time, I wanted to share how we do it at home. All right. The final strategy for delegating is one of the most important ones and one that I guide you through in my coaching program. And that is partner collaboration, what I call parent partnership. Together, identifying your strengths and dividing tasks accordingly. This is teamwork at its finest. When the kids see both parents working on maintaining the house together, it sets the tone for them, meaning if you're both collaborating, this becomes part of their values when they're searching for a partner in life, at work, at school, for a project, anything. All right, so we're nearing the end here, and I've got a bonus lesson for you. It's called Communication Tips for Success in Delegating Tasks. We all know that communication is huge when you want to delegate anything, right? So, a great time to introduce or follow up on tasks would be to frame the conversation where everyone is together, calm, relaxed, and no one is needing to rush out in the next 5 minutes. Check out episode number 62, where I talk more about getting everyone on the same page. Now, the second tip for communication is avoid the nagging trap. Whatever you want to say, ensure it's calm and encourages their growth. So it's important for us to slow down, okay? Both you and they want to feel proud of what they're doing. So not only does it inspire them to be consistent, but it builds their confidence. Okay, I know we covered quite a bit today. Good thing you're subscribed to my podcast so that you can always come back and listen to the whole thing again, right? Or you can go through the show notes and go directly to the section that you want to replay. How? Well, in case you didn't know, down in the show notes, I always put the timestamps so that you can fast forward to the exact segment of the show you want to re listen to. And while you're there, don't forget to check out the references in the show notes too. All right, my friend, if you found this episode valuable and you got some great takeaways from it, as always, your review is so helpful to boost the show's visibility for parents like you. And a quick and easy way to do this too is to post or share this episode or the podcast show on your social media platform. Now, if you liked what you heard so far and you want a little more information about my coaching program, head to dianejimenez.com and let's book a 20-minute call together. Okay. All right, now for the free resource as promised. Ever wonder what your organizing style is like? Take my 2-minute quiz to find out. Inside, you'll discover your organizing personality and get one simple tip to help you start reclaiming your time at home without trying to do everything all on your own. Head to dianejimenez.com/quiz now to get your results. All right, my friend, that's it for me. Have an awesome rest of the week. And remember, it's all about the big picture, their growth instead of filling your need. All right. Thank you for tuning in. Take care. Bye bye.